The ocean is essential in sustaining life on Earth. The social and cultural fabric of millions and our physical and emotional well-being depends on the health of the ocean. In this module, we introduce the concept of natural capital and how it helps us understand the importance of the oceans for the economy and society. At the heart of the natural capital approach is the understanding that nature underpins human health, wealth, culture, identity and happiness. It is a way of explaining the value of nature and understanding the many ways in which our human systems interact with the natural world. It helps decision makers to understand the complex ways in which natural, social and economic systems interact, impact and depend upon one another. In the OECS, more than 1.4 million people live on or near the coast, and at 2.75 million square kilometres, the Caribbean Sea is a crucial resource. It is critical that we manage our use of marine resources in a way to ensure they can continue to support us and future generations.
That our oceans have vast resources. They're important to us in terms of their regulating of the climate of the planet. They're important to us because of the raw materials, the foods that they produce. They're important to us because they have huge genetic resources, some of which are unknown and untapped yet, which is exciting for us, as well as the important spiritual value.
Natural capital is the world's stock of natural resources, including rocks, soil, air, water, and all living things. We get a wide range of benefits called ecosystem services, which flow from this natural capital, which make our life possible. The most obvious ecosystem services include the food we eat and the water we drink. There are also less visible services, such as climate regulation and flood defences provided by mangroves, or the coastal protection provided by coral reefs. Even less visible are cultural services, such as the inspiration we take from the natural environment. Without an understanding of these services, it is difficult to see the bigger picture and understand their value.
Right. So I think it all starts with trying to get these people to understand that they have a vested interest in the resources and they have cultural attachments to those resources. So we don't want to have, in the process of protecting those resources, those cultural attachments are severed. So we've essentially started doing sensitizations with the different communities, stakeholders, and try to ensure that they know why we're protecting the resources. The intention is not to stop them from the traditional use of the area or prevent them from generating a livelihood. The objective is to ensure that their livelihoods continue to exist in the future. We don't want to have a situation where we continue to allow them to fish unsustainably, for example, and then we have their livelihoods coming to an abrupt end because there's no more fish for them to harvest. We want to ensure that they understand that our objective is to ensure that their livelihoods continue to exist.
This base of natural capital underpins the ocean economy across three aspects: living resources, non-living resources, and ecosystems and ecosystem processes, in which living and non-living ocean resources interact as a functioning unit. Each region of the world has a different mix of natural capital. Key elements in the OECS are living resources that become catch for the region's fishing fleets, such as the spiny lobster, the queen conch, shrimps, reef fish, coastal large pelagic species like king mackerel, and offshore large pelagic species like yellowfin tuna. Non-living resources, such as the significant reserves of oil and gas in waters under the jurisdiction of Venezuela, Colombia, and Trinidad and Tobago, and ecosystems and ecosystem processes, such as those described in Module 2, which make up the highest level of species diversity in the tropical Atlantic. Natural capital should be considered like financial capital. When we spend too much, we run up debt, which can eventually result in bankruptcy. Similarly, if we take out resources from our natural environment, we also run up debt, which must be repaid, for example by replanting mangroves or restoring coral reefs. If we keep drawing down natural capital without allowing recovery, we run the risk of local, regional, or even global ecosystem collapse, natural bankruptcy. OECS nations depend on the natural environment to generate income, so conservation of biodiversity is linked to social, cultural, and economic realities.
Grenada's investment in the ocean resources, let's say fish, is in the region of about almost just below $400 million. Good, so it's a multi-million-dollar industry. So it's the biggest blue industry that we have. currently. Good? So its management is very, very critical because so many livelihoods depend upon it, both at the local level, I mean at the rural, poor people and so on, as well as the big investors depend on it. And its management is critical because we have to maintain the ecological base of the industry. Without the biodiversity, without the proper condition of the habitat, without the proper water quality, the industry will collapse and the consequences could be very dire.
So, environmentally, our oceans must be managed sustainably to protect fragile marine ecosystems and restore natural capital. We will explore the natural environment of the Caribbean in Module 2 and the threats it is under in Module 4. Socially, the ocean is in the soul of island nations. It is not simply a place of work, but a place for relaxation, exercise and family, an integral part of daily life. In Module 5, we will explore the relationship between oceans and society in the OECS. Economically, national economies rely on the ecosystem services of the ocean. This natural capital must be protected and sustained. We will look at the human activities of the OECS in Module 3. To balance these different aspects, the blue economy approach is vital for island nations to ensure ocean services continue to benefit current and future generations. We look at the blue economy concept in Module 6, followed by Modules 7, 8 and 9, which look at the governance and management we need to enable this approach. In this module, we have explored the natural capital concept in the Caribbean and why it is important to understand the value of our natural assets. In Module 2, we look at the different ecosystems in the OECS and the role they play in supporting the diversity of species and habitats that make up the rich marine and coastal environment of the region.